to go for the last one. They did ban Jace. They did ban Elise. The Nasus is out there, but it's really actually that's not either of theirs if you think about it.
No,
so I say it in my brain.
Yeah, the Elise is obviously for Nintendo, but what I see happening here is GGU is daring TSM to do something. So if Karthus is left available, Jintei's going to take it, I think, and they're going to dare X Special to play Thresh, as far as I can tell. That might be what's happening, but they end up banning Karthus, so they're not gonna play that game.
So they take the Thresh. Daydreaming gets the support he wants. They hover. You can see him. You really want this. Zion Spartan communicating with the team. Usually that's a boom. This is our first pick. But we've seen, Jat, that the two priority picks from Team 2 have been a winning team a lot of the time this playoff.
Especially, if I'm right, in the GGU games, they were actually 4-0 on red side coming into this one, and they'd actually lost their 2 blue side games up until this last one that happened. But you can see why they said, are you sure about this Thresh? Because as soon as they give up that first pick, they lose 2 of their other priorities. They don't get Nasus and they don't get Caitlyn. So again, they have to deal with that incredibly long-range, potent Wild Turtle Caitlyn.
So it looks like they do go for the Nasus. Very interesting. Odd1 played Jarvan yesterday in the playoff matches that they had. So we'll see what they can produce here.
I think it's still a smart pick for them getting the Nasus and Caitlyn away. And these are very similar compositions to what we saw last time.
Yeah.
Those are 3 of the same champions for Good Game University. Nasus was banned in the first game, I hope. I'm not saying that out of I hope, man, that he was banned in that game. And it's giving TSM what they want. Renekton for Dyrus is his favorite champion. He just hasn't gotten to play it in forever.
He's going to love it. I continuously remember just Dyrus always coming down from top lane in a slice and dice call that somebody tweeted me on, and it just like plays in my head. It's like Dyrus throws himself into the fight when he plays Renekton. I love to watch it. It's like, this is my unstoppable force, but it's a slice and dice. Here it is. And
it flows so well with TSM because Reginald always throws himself into the fight, so Dyrus just comes in right after it. I like the fact that GGU was so quick with these last 2 lock-ins. Zion Spartans, Vladimir was really good yesterday. Domashmi's Twitch is a throwback to early on in the season when he was really strong on that one. And I'd actually expected Diana from Reginald if I had to pick something because TF and Karthus are both gone for him, and they still want ways to crash into fights.
Ooh. Wow, that is one way to crash into a fight as well as allow other people to crash in safely as well with Black Shield. They have 30 seconds, though, to hover, so it's going to be some type of AoE crowd control, but Diana fits that as well, so it could be Diana Morgana.
So they already have the huge amounts of persistent magic damage with the Renekton Nasus combo that a lot of people like locking in, and Reginald used to play a lot of Morgana back in Season 2. I think he's only played it. I don't even know if he's played it this season. I know it's been sparingly played. Nightjack he played a few games on as well, but this would be the pick that makes the most sense to me if he goes with Diana.
Diana would give them a bit of a dive comp with him and with, I was going to say Wild Turtle, or Dyrus on Renekton rather. They're going to get these guys swapped up. Again, it's going to be great to see Zion Spartan on Vladimir, but GGU plays the super late game when they have this composition, and Twitch is there, so you kind of read that already.
They're really hoping to get to that point. It's a strange super late game composition, though, when you have something like a Nocturne against a Nasus, because as junglers, those guys do not have the same scaling. But, I mean, we saw earlier when Voiboy got really going on Renekton, he couldn't carry it through, but that was also because they didn't have Wild Turtle on the 6-item Caitlyn sitting in the back for their team. So I think TSM, if they get an early lead in another one of those situations, have enough to be able to close the rest of the game through. Whereas GGU, I think, just has to use this game as a regrouping point and do everything they can to not fall behind TSM early.
Definitely feel just off the bat that GGU has a stronger composition coming in here. You know, Jintei feels safe on Orianna with those ultimates. Late game, they are fight changing right off the bat. It's like having a placeable Amumu ult the way he uses it. Zion Spartan on Vladimir as well, the percentage damage from Hemoplague, and he plays it late game. He was 1v1ing people in that game.
The last time we saw Jintei play Orianna was Game 3 against Dignitas, which is the game that actually knocked Dignitas into the summer promotion. And everyone who watched that game was saying Jintei MVP during that situation because his Orianna was really, really mean. And he has to step up in the situation because after that first game, it's now 5-0 for TSM against GGU in this season. Obviously, a lot of those games were early on before GGU had really hit their stride, but Jintei has historically struggled against Reginald. And since Reginald's on such an aggressive champion like Diana, it's really game time for Jintei to prove himself here.
You can see the teams behind us facing off. Good Game University versus Team Solomid, the second in our best-of-5 series here for the championship title in the North American LCS. We have game started by GGU on the blue side. TSM will be on the red side for Game 2 here, and we'll have to see what they can produce for a first-round strat. or first minute strat.
And the big time wards coming out here, there's 6 items for both of these supports. 1 pink as well, which is what a lot of these supports do. I've seen some varied strategies where supports will go with multiple pink wards, but you generally only go with multiple pink wards if you're really expecting a 2v2 lane because you want to get brush control, and I don't think either one of these guys are that worried about that. But there's that 5-man stack from GGU straight into a ward.
They are just kind of chilling on it. So this is pretty much the invade. They've put 5 strong here. They're going to put a lot of focus on it, and Dyrus says, all right, you guys can have that top bush. I'm going to head out with the team. Now, it looks like they may actually try to loop around Baron and come back, unless they just want to face-to-face it.
TSM knows that GGU is going to be invading, and they might hope that they 5-man check this brush.
It's going to be Daydream at first. He throws himself in the front. Dyrus is there. Does he get the hook? They miss it, but they get special on the backside. He's going to have to flash out. He actually dies from the expunge right away. The first skill taken by Mashme gives him the kill.
So TSM was waiting in that brush, but Reginald still wasn't there, so that's why Dyrus actually had to peel back at the start, and flashing out of that hook seemed like it was a good idea until it caught X Special, and the first blood does go to Good Game University. So opposite of what happened last game, great start for GGU.
Super pie to the face from X Special. Dyrus just dodging out of that one. That's going to be worked out for him, though, and it is definitely better, right? Because the first kill overall for GGU last time, it wasn't first blood, but it still even went to Daydream, and Daydream had ended that game with 2 kills of the 3 that GGU had, so already way better start.
Getting it onto Don't Mash Me is huge for them, and it actually, I don't know what their lane scenario was going to be, but they've decided to send them bottom now. It's still not going to be a 2v2 lane, though, because, again, Caitlyn and X Special are just sitting in the mid lane wanting to shove that one up. They, even with the disaster at level 1 here for TSM, feel like their strategy from last game was sound, and there was no acceptable answer for what GGU did in the mid lane. TSM's trying it again.
And there's going to be, yeah, that's not going to be able to go to Reginald. I thought he actually got that, but blue buff goes to the odd one as he does need it to get around the jungle. They're going to have to get that pressure back onto the bottom lane if possible for Reginald. Those ganks could be strong against him.
And Reginald putting himself in this 1v2 is a little bit dangerous for TSM, because as TSM goes, Reginald goes, and if he falls behind, he might not be able to headlong dive and just lead the way for him, because if you're far behind on a champion, if you go in first, you are pretty much just going to get exploded.
You can see Jinte just getting pushed to the turret. The shots from X Special as the shots onto the turret come from Wild Turtle, so they're doubling up on trying to do that poke damage. Zion Spartan taking some good damage from Dyrus. He is not really going to give him that fun time before level 7 and 9 for Vlad.
Yeah, Zion Spartan starting with the cloth armor 5 pots, like Dyrus did last game against Zion Spartan's Riven. Instead, Dyrus actually goes what I believe is the red elixir, which is why he was able to bully early, but he's popped it so quickly. Dyrus doesn't win this lane or at least get an edge in the next 3 minutes. That red elixir is actually going to kind of go to waste, so this is the moment for Dyrus to press.
And that's kind of thing about just Zion Star Vladimir, I should say. You're going to take some damage, but if you're patient enough, you'll have full health right away. So he's good so far, but like you said, Dyrus trying to just put that pressure on with the red elixir pop. Nasus now coming down bottom. Good job by GGU to start pulling the aggression from the odd one around so they can win the other lanes.
And it seems like the odd one is pretty much just here for support on Reginald, not trying to get kills, just making sure the turret doesn't get pushed down too far, because they know Wild Turtle and X Special are just pushing up that mid lane, already taking half the turret, whereas in this other lane, it's only a quarter of a turret that GGU's gotten, and we know the importance of that mid turret is much higher than the bottom turret from a map pressure perspective. So right now it is slight advantage to TSM.
Now, how do that advantage with them, how does the lane match work up for the junglers? Because they're both kind of walk into the lane, you see them coming ganks.
They pretty much have to. If they're trying to win the turret siege game, the junglers have to be in the lane a lot.
Okay. Until
the lane is at a point where he can clear by himself, and that's just not the case early on for Jinte. So anytime Nintendude actually leaves for the jungle, he's endangering his turret.
Looks like a lot of focus being put on. Oh, he did get it. The pilt over Peacemaker for Wild Turtle. A little tit there, or for tat on Nintendude X.
What a pain that guy must be in mid lane to try to deal with. He is applying so much pressure to Nintendude, and it's weird because Nintendude's trying to jungle. He essentially just did wraiths for Wild Turtle in that situation and made him even stronger.
And Nintendude X actually choosing to go for the Spirit Stone instead of the Madrids onto Nocturne.
And he did this last game as well, and their last game in the semifinals. It shuts down his early clear a little bit, but when he gets the Spirit of the Elder Lizard upgrade, it actually allows his Q to clear the ranged minions because of the true damage burn will be enough to finish them off. It is a bit of a lane push advantage for him if he wants it late game, but where he needs it is right now because that turret is gone.
we do see that Mashmi has gone back into Bison. He has another 1,100 gold to spend on those items. He doesn't even really seem like he knows what he wanted. So he just bought that sword on the first time back, and he has a lot of gold to spend here. Half mana for both of them in the bottom lane as they continuously push and keep Odd1 there. We actually saw this happening yesterday with Xmithly playing Jarvan. Just, you know, we need to soak up the experience because Nintendo's not creating pressure anywhere else, so we're okay.
Yeah, Odd1 and Reginald are in harmony down there. They're saying, yeah, I'm going to tax your lane. All right, man, that's cool. That's cool. You can have 19 of my minions. I don't care who gets these minions. Just save our tower.
Yeah.
Because that's all they care about. They're trying to clear these as quickly as possible, and they're doing a great job of it. Since they did that, they got the turret.
So this leaves a Zion Spartan and a Dyrus on an island by themselves up top, 28-36 in that lane. And I'm sure they're more than happy to do it because both kind of have that late game impact. So right now, they're just doing their own thing.
And it's even more of an island than you would usually expect because these have been junglers in full vision the entire time. So there is absolutely zero outside threat. There is not even a teleport on the map to potentially come in and do something. They know they're in a 1v1 brawl right now, and that's one of the reasons they're just kind of going wherever they want.
This turret's only going to last so long. Reginald finally having to push off of that lane. They know it's going to go down, so they start making the swap now instead of when it's too late.
And it's smart. If Wild Turtle and X Special make it down there before the turret goes down, that is a turret advantage because once a Caitlyn Lulu gets into the lane, you're not generally able to shove it out. And that could also be another reason why Nintendo is down here because they want to pressure them enough to be able to take the turret since they know it's low and they need to get that global gold back.
And that's something we kind of talked about as well. They've kind of backwardsly put back a Thresh lane and stopped it from being so good because, you know, once you're behind a Thresh lane, you can't really get back on top.
They're not trying to lane against the Thresh lane necessarily.
Exactly.
They're just trying to outshove the Thresh lane since he's a ranged support. The one thing that GGU could come out of this on top by is if they get this turret quickly since Nintendo X, while he was jungling and GGU was losing their mid turret, he was farming a lot more of the jungle.
Well, there's the grab they want coming from the backside. Paranoia on the Caliber net and the flash out. Wow, they put a lot into this. Another flash coming in. They are able to waste him on the expunge.
So Nintendo X pulled off the flash fear there on Wild Turtle. It's a very difficult maneuver. When you have your flash tether on someone, even though it breaks at 425 range, when you flash out of it, there's a quarter-second timer that needs to tick before it drops. He flashed within the quarter-second that Wild Turtle did, kept the fear tether on him, got the fear, and allowed them to get the kill.
Absolutely reading these plays a few steps ahead. The Odd1 finds himself back walking that same trail in the bottom lane. He's going to go ahead and try to get this blue over to Reginald now. 730 was the spawn on that, so they're not too far behind it. But actually looks like they're going to put pressure on the Dragon first before going for that, because Reginald has the win in mid so far.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. Nintendo X, he used his Nocturne ultimate to gank, but Odd1 used his Nasus ultimate to take Dragon. You know what's worth more? The Dragon. So this is actually a win for TSM once again.
TSM holds the turret in the bottom lane overall since the crushing of Mashmi and Daydreamin', and then, like you said, get the Dragon. 8 minutes and 20 seconds there. We'll see Dragon coming up around 14. We get a quick pause as it's 2-0 in favor of GGU. TSM does have the turret, so they have a little bit of global map awareness opening, and Mashmi has a little bit of a problem with his computer, so we'll get that fixed up and figured out.
And Mashmi needs to be able to get back in this one because he's actually started 2-0 in this game, and that's the big thing that GGU will have to their edge. On the other side of that, you look at the grand scheme of the game, and TSM has done a really good job at coming back from that first blood in their own jungle. Since they've been able to take the first turret, defend their own, and also gotten the Dragon, that is a 1,725 global gold that they've been able to pick up that GGU has had absolutely no access to. So even though they're down 2-0, and even though those 2 kills are on Don't Mash Me, whose computer is currently getting looked at, TSM still managed to pull an overall edge in the game.
So how does that work in some scenarios, right? You get that first kill of the game, yeah, it's first blood for your AD carry, but it's not as impactful. You can't spend the gold to get an item up right away. How do you push that advantage as much as possible?
Well, I think for them, they got trapped into the bottom lane and not wanting to 2v2 mid again, because if you get that first blood on your AD carry, you want to be able to fight people. Right. And they weren't really able to fight. What they were able to do is they were able to keep Odd1 in the bottom lane for a really long time and essentially give what should have been their other lanes free time to farm, but it just didn't end up working out that way because Nintendo X was still tethered to mid lane while everything was going on and wasn't able to roam and create pressure that way, because the advantage that GGU could have gained was the fact that they'd taken all of the Odd1's time and essentially made a permanent gank bot, but they just weren't able to capitalize.
Well, it's one roundabout way from really thwarting the advantage of a first blood, but TSM has found a way to do it here, and they're actually up in gold with their latest Dragon, 500 to be exact, 1-0 in turrets in their favor as well. So the global gold in their favor, that global pressure as well. Is that first turret to go down, the mid turret.
It was a very good turret to get,
yes.
and it allows the odd one to roam around even more. It's also one of the big reasons they were able to get that dragon. And it is just their overall map pressure. Like, think of all the time the odd one has spent in the lanes. I almost want like a counter over, if I wanted it. I wouldn't want this every time, to see like how many times each jungle camp had been taken, to just kind of figure out.
Right.
Odd one hasn't been jungling. Odd one's actually just been a laner this game.
35 to 50 CS as they both have. We actually saw the junglers going over about 250 CS yesterday in the 60-minute game. There's a hook onto Xpecial. There's the flay back as well. Mashme is there. He starts to spread as well, so he can get the double expunge damage on both of them. And it looks like he may be able to only get that down onto Xpecial. There's the slow. Can they get the fear tether down? It's going to be just within range, though. The flash is forced, though. That puts pressure on the bottom lane once again.
Xpecial wait until the last second to flash away from that one. Very close escape, and that was GGU trying to exercise their will in that bottom lane. That's the 2v2 they'd wanted. That's how they wanted to take advantage of their first blood kill, but unfortunately they were unable to capitalize.
Reginald once again staying true to his Doran's Ring build, trying to keep that health and mana regen in lane so he can go as aggressive as Reginald does.
Reggie likes to go, and he's actually not that far behind considering the 1v2 situation the whole time, and neither is Jinte when you look at it. 73 minion kills for Jinte, 47 for Reginald. Both of these guys farming pretty well. Jinte went for the tier, so he's got some stacking time to get going. And Reginald with the double thorns means he's actually more of an immediate threat despite having less farm in the lane.
Odd one quickly getting into the Spirit of the Ancient Golem mode. He gets that up 10 minutes into the match. No other core items have actually been finished by anyone.
So he gets to that item real quick, and he's been able to get the boots as well.
There's a dodge. Whoa, Zion Spartan going hard on this one. He's just going to pull out. Actually, focuses the turret onto Jinte. He can't stay to fight. They kind of miscommunicated that.
And the rest of TSM is coming up to punish this one. So let's see if that was a fatal mistake for Jinte.
Odd one coming in onto Jinte here. Jinte, look at that health bar. He is so squishy right now. He flashes the Spirit Fire, trying to dodge the damage. The shield comes on. Odd one tries to go hard to the turret, and it looks like Zion Spartan is taking the long way home on this one.
Still on the run. He's got a couple turrets he's going to have to try to find his way through. Did he just pull off the juke? I don't know.
He did. Nobody's going to find him. Oh, my gosh. All right, so we're going to leave him. We'll go back to the lanes. Great move by Zion Spartan. A tip of the hat on the escape there. And really, they should have had that kill on Dyrus in the top lane, though. He is still pressuring that turret, and TSM's able to get an advantage on this mistake. Bottom turret, however, though, kind of evened out now.
So finally, TSM was able to get the final attrition hits on that bottom turret, but they lost that top turret from pretty much full health to nothing because of the slight over-aggression by GGU. If that shockwave would have been an inch in the other direction, Dyrus would have been dead right now. And they'd be eating crocodile happily with a turret underneath them, but it didn't. TSM keeps their global gold edge, even though they haven't gotten a kill.
Jinte was so scared when he saw Zion Spartan pool, and he saw that turret just pointing right in between his eyes. Zion back to lane now after getting out sneakily. He's doing quite well. Actually, 74 to 97, so Dyrus doing quite well there, but that assist onto Zion Spartan definitely helping to keep him in the game in that top lane. You can see the gold quite close within 500. That's really what this game is about, 16.1 to 16.7 right now.
Yeah, and we got to keep in mind, actually, as Reggie comes bottom and gets Thresh Lantern to safety, that Dyrus did start with that red elixir, so even though he's winning that lane, it's not by as much as you'd expect, just the 16 minion kills, and if you didn't factor in the global advantages, he wouldn't actually have that big of a lead, so Zion Spartan has done a good job at laning against him thus far.
See where the pressure goes next. Everybody clearing up the jungles. Reginald did not find anything at bottom, and he was also seen on both passings of the ward near Dragon. We have 1 minute and 30 on that, so the teams look to stay pretty silent and quiet right now until they can really push an advantage and that Dragon timer is ready.
And I believe since Nintendo X has gotten that Spirit of the Elder Lizard, even though he's mainly jungling with it, it gives them more wave clear threat if TSM tries to set up any more sieges. Hopefully they can stop the bottom lane from getting pushed, because last game, really, once GGU lost their third outer turret, TSM really just took control of their jungle and the Dragon area as well. We're probably going to see something similar like that when the Dragon comes up in a minute, and TSM will then look to try to find their fight. A big breakpoint here is if Dyrus can get to level 11 before the Dragon fight, because the damage of his ultimate goes up quite a bit between level 6 and 11. Right now, it's 40 damage a second. The next level up, it's 70 damage a second. So it's like having it's a Sunfire Cape upgrade almost, just having that level.
Nintendo X trying to pressure the mid here. 45 seconds on the Dragon. Reginald looks to push back on this. Could see their blue buffs coming up quite soon here as well. They actually just spawned on both sides. And we'll see the Dragon getting a little bit of focus. The odd one goes down to throw down. I believe he has a pink ward for that situation. There it is. They only have the ward outside though, so there will be vision on this fight for GGU.
And even though we get to sound really smart and being like, that Dragon's up in 30 seconds, everyone's going to go fight there, GGU doesn't know the exact time of the Dragon because the odd one killed the last time with a pink ward and without vision of GGU. So GGU will see it when it respawns, but they do not know that it's coming up in 15 seconds. So TSM has the advantage if they want to position around it before GGU knows what's happening.
Odd one goes to clear the Wolves. We'll see him start to head down towards the bottom lane. We see Wild Turtle special position for a wave clear and possibly a push here on the aggression. Looks like Jinte is hovering towards the bottom side of that mid lane though, so they could converge here to get something going. Daydreamin moves out. He has a pink and his Sightstone, and he actually throws down the Sightstone ward, so they'll just know. Not anymore.
Odd one gets his Q stack off of that one as well, but at least they know, hey, there's a lot of dudes over here. Maybe we should fight them or something like that.
That's good though, because they would have lost a pink ward otherwise.
So it's a hook onto Reggie, but they're actually following up right now.
Daydreamin throws the box down as well. Reginald does not like boxes. He gets himself out, pulled back in by the command Shockwave, but he just doesn't like boxes.
And that's a Shockwave down on one person, meaning it's completely down for the team fight. They can no longer combo that with the Vladimir ult, and I actually think that puts them at a big enough disadvantage that GGU wouldn't want to fight if TSM wants to take this Dragon.
We'll have to see. It looks like Dyrus is able to push Zion Spartan to the top side of the lane, so it's going to be hard for him to just walk down into this fight. He tries to reposition there. The Daydreaming missing, but he could not have follow up on that. His team would not have been able to gap close over the wall. They have to be careful. TSM is really putting themselves in unengageable positions.
And they have a lot of pink wards too, so they're definitely keeping vision control to try to stop the Thresh hooks from going in. One of the big reasons that GGU tried to follow up on that initial Thresh hook is because they weren't exactly sure what was there. He's like, I got one, I'm going in. And they didn't realize there were so many people that they couldn't necessarily fight.
Yeah, lost the ward. The vision was Daydreaming, and then it was a whoopsie. Bloodthirster finished on to Mash Me. Really the first time we've seen a Twitch kind of throw out the Infinity Edge rush here. Wild Turtle onto the Infinity Edge himself. And it looks like he's going to be able to output that damage once again. Remember, he had 3 items finished core at about 23 minutes past the game.
And Mashme's trying to solo Wild Turtle here with Nocturne.
There's Paranoia coming in. He will not make it out of this, and it's not shut down, but the kill does go to Mashme. 3-0-0 at 144 CS.
TSM is following up though, and GGU might be in trouble.
Jinte's just on the backside. They have a lot of safety here. That Shockwave is down, but they still have good AoE damage to go around the fight. They push TSM right out of this one. Odd one forced to ulti. Where's the expunge? It's going to be ball movement by Orianna. Jinte picks up the kill, especially on the left side, but Reginald trying to pinch off that entry.
There was actually so much extended posturing by these teams that the Shockwave came back up again after Jinte had already hit the first one. He had a blue buff and a Morellonomicon, which actually put him at 40% CDR this early in the game, which I think made TSM misjudge the cooldown of that Shockwave. It's only 72 seconds with that 40% CDR, so TSM got caught out by the sneaky twitch of Don't Mash Me. It gets them kills, and it gets them the Dragon.
TSM quite off the core items that they may want here. Looking at Reginald's build, he does have that Secret Arm Guard fully stacked, but he's sitting on 450 gold, quite far away from his Zhonya's if he wants to purchase that. The boots were just what came in for him. More damage coming out for Jinte on his side with the Blasting Wand as he still stacks up that tier.
And Zion Spartan's going to want to get that selfish spell vamp item. I think he's going to go for a Spirit of the Spectral Wraith pretty soon. So many people are like, man, why don't they build Woda anymore off of this Hextech Revolver?
I say it.
I kind of agree with it, actually. I kind of agree that a Woda might be better overall, but because of how much Zion Spartan split pushes, he really cares about that individual strength, and he wants to be able to heal up if he fights Dyrus in a 1v1 situation. Since at this point he's down 40 minion kills, so I think he's going to upgrade that as soon as it's available to him, and for now it's just a waiting game.
You know, if history repeats itself, then Zion Spartan's going to be having some 1v1 fights, and that selfish item is going to prove useful.
Absolutely, and even now, there's maybe a 2v1, because Odd One has actually been waiting in this brush for a really long time. Zion Spartan expects to see Dyrus in the lane, and since he is actually down a turret, he's like, this is really unsafe. I think I'm going to go back.
He smells them. He's Vladimir. He's a blood mage. He knows they're there. The Bash brothers were waiting in the bushes to take him down, but he's still going to head back towards the top lane. He sees the safety just from the minions. He says, all right, I can ward. This is going to give my team a little bit of help because coming up onto 20 minutes here, there's going to be more posture for positioning. The top turret or the mid turret is going to be a focus for GGU.
And based on what happened to Wild Turtle before that Dragon fight, there's actually a sense of fear in TSM right now. Because last game, Wild Turtle did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And since he's been punished a little bit this game already, he's not safe farming.
He was just standing on top of Wild Turtle, hatched him like an egg, could finish it off with another kill here. And you were just talking about what?
The darkness came in. The paranoia. He's got to get a little bit more paranoid because he was like, you know, I kind of want to farm these, but there might be a Twitch. Oh my God, here's a Twitch right here. And that was another just instant kill. They're doing their best to try to keep Wild Turtle down.
Just sat on him and hatched a baby Wild Turtle. Got himself another kill, 4-0-1 now on the day, 166 CS. So Turtle keeping up in farm, but this is really the first time we have seen him 0-3-0.
And 4 kills on a Don't Match Me. Something that's going to be so critical late game is whether the Odd One can get good withers on Don't Match Me that he doesn't cleanse off in particular team fights. Because if he gets his shots off, he has a chance to kill everyone. If Dyrus or Reginald don't dive onto him, which they're going to try very hard, this game is very quickly becoming all about Don't Match Me's Twitch.
It is becoming about GGU. They have to be careful, though. It looks like they're roaming the jungle very, very surely, and that can really get themselves into some trouble. So they go to back off here after taking the blue, playing it safe with that one invade grab after their kills. 20 minutes into the game here, Dyrus looks to go a little bit full ham out of Zion Spartan, causes that ghost, and it's pretty much what he wanted.
Zion Spartan, remember the ward that he placed earlier in that tri-brush when he saw Renekton farm in the wave?
Yep.
That's what made him pop the ghost, because Reginald was coming right through that brush, would have killed him if he got the close, and it did burn the one summoner skill. Luckily for Zion Spartan, he actually brings 2 escape summoners on Vladimir, the old flash ghost that you used to see a whole bunch back in Season 1 before everyone played the game.
Used to run that on Ashe.
But used to run that on Ashe. If you didn't go for the teleport flash, shoot the arrow from the base and teleport in.
So good.
Oh, yeah.
Mash Me giving away his positioning here as he just flasks Dyrus a little bit. Oh, whoa, getting quite close there. Playing some games with Dyrus. And it looks like he's just going to farm this one out. So they're trying to get every one of these lanes pushed. Looks like TSM will put some consideration towards that top lane as Dyrus and Odd One switch out, but they're not looking to lose any turrets here.
Let's actually look at how the farming is going, because it's 206 for Dyrus. He's been farming up a storm on Renekton, but Renekton's not the most potent late game champion. Him and Reginald are going to be diving in together, I think, and it'll be on them to kill Don't Match Me, because Reginald hasn't farmed impeccably well, right? He was in that 1v2 lane for so long, he got a little bit denied and hasn't spent a whole bunch of time coming back from it. TSM hasn't been able to create any kills, which is very unlike them so far in the game. All the aggression has actually been started mainly by GGU onto Wild Turtle, so farm-wise, it's really only Dyrus that's coming out ahead, and the majority of the action is being created by GGU.
So a buy on the needlessly large rod. TSM feels confident in the fight phase. Reginald does not wait another 600 or so gold to finish the Zanya as they come right back into lane. He pushes from the bottom, leaving Zion Spartan alone. TSM may look to get aggressive here.
And the gold is still really close. So any fight that happens now is going to be so incredibly important. 5-0 game is not a landslide whatsoever when you consider the fact that TSM has the turret edge, and I believe they've traded 1 dragon for 1, but the farm, even though GGU is a little bit ahead, as we just said, is still close. So that's why these teams aren't fighting, because they need to find an advantageous fight before they're willing to go.
You know, we see a lot of, obviously, aura items because they're good, but like you said, the selfish items are coming out more. You got the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, which is the offensive selfish item, but we've seen more Hex Drinkers lately as well, now one right now on Dyrus.
There's been a lot more Hex Drinkers, and it's smart on Dyrus because they're against a double AP composition. Also, the fact that a lot of Renektons like to build the Sunfire Cape, he's not really allowed to go for that against Vladimir. Because the Sunfire Cape, he would actually just lose the lane if he would have rushed that. Because it would have been nothing but armor and a bit of health. And Zion Spartan would have just shredded him.
All right, so we'll see him obviously building that item up. They will have the Aegis coming in soon, but he wants it now. He wants it for that lane. And he wants it for those engagements because, like we said, Zion Spartan definitely 1-1v1 with that Vladimir coming up to the late game. 22 minutes here as we kind of crest mid-game. We're figuring out who's going to have posture on Baron as the Oracles now being purchased up. The Zanyas finished up onto Reginald. That Seraph's Embrace with a Morello Namicon, though, on Jinte. So they're going to be able to really throw themselves into this fight.
Daydreaming, really hoping to land a death sentence onto someone. Even the little bit of poke that came into Wild Turtle is enough to push them back from this turret.
Wow.
And they might look for more. It's a very dangerous situation if they went a bit too far.
That was a pretty painful Dustbringer for Wild Turtle. It's going to force him back to base. I'm sure he's got enough to finish that Zeal, though. He is looking at 1,200 gold, so maybe he'll put a dagger on the end of that as well.
But the big thing is they got enough poke down onto Wild Turtle that there's no threat of a fight here.
Right.
But TSM going for the big play. They don't know there's a ward in here. They're actually predicting that GGU doesn't have it, or they can rush it down fast enough. Nasus and Renekton do a huge amount of damage. They're rushing for this Baron.
Special did not walk into the pit when he had that Oracles on. They are looking to get back to this. The Baron will not go down. They force it off at half health. Their Zion Spartan's going to try to start it.
And since they know that the Odd One and Dyrus both popped their ultimates, even if there was a team fight here, GGU might come out on top.
3,000 is the separation in gold as they start the first Baron fight at 23 minutes in the second match. A huge shockwave coming from Jinte. They wipe the team with the expunge. Dyrus on the outside as Good Game University says, let's go.
They get the Baron and the 3 kills. Don't Mash Me just open fire and destroyed TSM. That was a crazy aggressive play by TSM. They were really gambling that there was no ward inside of that Baron pit, but because that was, everything fell into place for GGU.
That Zion Spartan spearheading that engagement as he said, let's keep the Baron going. They rolled it in. It's going to equal a turret as well. The global gold just surmounting now for GGU. 6,000 gold in the lead. TSM looking to find a way back. Now into this one, they're still in it, but they have to stop that from happening again.
Yeah, they can't find themselves out of the game anymore because that's one of those plays that just ends it for you. It was actually a very aggressive call that if the ward wouldn't have been there, would have been lauded and talked about to be super brilliant, but because it backfired, maybe not.
No, man, there is a bit of regen there, but Nintendo X is out of mana. It's just going to be Dyrus having his way with him this time. There's going to be speed there on the Dustbringer once more. He's not going to be able to really get the stun up here. If he can't get in range, he flashes it, but the stun is on the flash, and he won't get through the wall. Baron buff saved on Nintendo.
So something real interesting happened there because Dyrus actually flashed to get the stun, but then Nintendo X flashed to go over the wall because I was thinking as that chase was happening, the Nintendo X was dead because Dyrus would just mirror flash over the wall. But because Dyrus thought he would be able to kill Nintendo one stun just to a Q, and because the timing of the flash was so precise, Nintendo got away miraculously.
Absolutely. We see him coming back. An Aegis for his team now as well. Lockett saving his ass, you would say, in that engagement.
Yeah.
Because that was him going down, like you said. And that Baron buff on everybody on the team is a huge factor because Nocturne's one of your divers.
And Don't Mash Me with the double swords is just going for Reginald.
Oh, there's Odd One just on the outside, but he says, sorry, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to fight that, guys. And Ren is like, all right, just leave me. It's fine.
There is, Jesus, Reggie's face. He's not even saying anything right now, and quietness is a severe problem for a team.
I feel like TSM knows how much trouble they put themselves in going for that Baron when it backfired on them, and this is kind of what TSM does when things start going wrong. They hope that someone has a good idea, but they don't clog the voice chat with unnecessary chatter. Like, they're not playing blame games right now because they're hoping something good happens, but they also don't know how to get back into this, and that's clear by the fact that none of them are talking.
Taking a look at the items, double zeal.
Double
Don't
swords.
Mash Me. Double swords. Bringing him out there. He's going to have to strap some of those to his boots soon. And we're going to see Mash Me pushing down this bottom turret, the top side of that, on the lane.
So much pressure going on this turret. Nintendo doesn't have his ultimate down. That was pretty clever, actually. It's dangerous to kill a turret as a melee. So they're just like, well, here's your way out. You're now a ranged man hitting a turret. And they get the turret, no problem.
Dyrus laughing back and forth with Zion Spartan. They know that that's just an all-out, just punching each other in the face to not really do any damage unless they're getting the draw kill on each other. You can see them both with the same amount of HP after having a few minutes left alone to their own divides in that top lane. Back and forth again. They trade just about the same amount of damage once again.
So Zion Spartan just trying to poke him back because the rest of the team is coming in. Oh,
Mash Me, oh my gosh, Mash Me going so hard in this. Cleanses to get out. They may have a good position on the box. Daydreaming just saved you so much. The Odd One goes in. He says, I can get through. No, you can't. GGU sets up a choke point on the backside of the top end turret.
I mean, we said yesterday, they're just going to keep going.
They do keep diving into this one. Going down. Oh, it's the surrender coming in. So it is the game where TSM says, let's take it to 3. We're not worried about this one anymore.
They know it's the long 5-game series.